Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video, we're going to be continuing on with the Simple Stories Dear Santa album. I once again got this from my little scrapbook store, and all links will be in the more section down below. Okay, so real quick, we're going to flip through. I try to do this at the beginning of each one of these, just so you can see what we've kind of worked on and where we're at. Okay, so for today, I was trying to go through just to see where do we start off at. Okay, so right now I'm pulling out the chipboard piece because it's easier to work on it not in the binder. So I find it's easier, excuse me, to pull it out and then go ahead and start attaching everything. Okay. So we actually started on page 18. And what's exciting is on this one, we are going to finally get to use some of these page flaps. Is that what they call them? Let me see. Photo flip pockets is what they're called. Sorry. So you're measuring down like I said an inch and a half, and that's where we're gonna put the first one. And I'm just taking the backing off where the double-sided tape, and I'm gonna put a little bit of wet glue. And I'm putting that there because the glue will dry clear, but we also will be putting a little piece of paper across that top so you won't see it. Now for the second one, it needs to go down 2.5. So I already know that's 1.5. I'm lining the edge up to, I think it's right at an inch, and I'm just going to make a mark. And then what I can do is when I flip the little pocket up, I'll be able to put this one down and line it up with my little tick marks. So now we can put in our little, I'm sorry about that. We had a little hiccup because for some reason my phones kept wanting to switch on which one was recording. So that may happen again, but just bear with me, okay? It does come back. So on the back side of each of these, we're going to put a 3x4 uh, cardstock, which will be for photos that we're going to wind up putting on the inside of the flaps. And we're going to do that on both of these. And then now we're going to pull out the piece. There was a little tiny piece that we had to cut. And it turns out, like right here, I pulled it out. I cut the one part of it that had no pattern dots on it. And I'm like, wait a minute, the picture is showing a little bit of the polka dots. I can see it. And I flip it over, and lo and behold, there it is. It was on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim another one of the pieces off to the same length. And then we're going to go ahead and get that attached. And I like that they're using part of the branding strips, that we didn't just cut them and not use any of them. So I think that's great that we're using even a little bit of that. And then inside the bits and pieces, we have another button. We're just going to put a little piece of foam, a little dot of glue, and then put that up above a little bit because we don't want to block being able to pull the papers out and put in a photo, when the time comes. And I want to put a photo in here. And then on the inside part, we're going to grab another one from the bits and pieces and put it right in the center. And that piece says special delivery and expenses. And that's going to go right in the center. And then it looks like on the instructions, they actually have you put mint colored, the minty green enamel dots, but when I looked at the photo, to me, it kind of looked yellow. So I did the cream colored. It doesn't matter. Um, at the end of the day, all of these enamel dots go with the collection. So you could use black if you wanted to. You could use whichever, because you can, all these are going to match. Okay, so now that's that page done. And now we're going to work on page 19 and 20. And on this one, there's like a, I guess what do we call it? Notebook paper that came in the binder itself. So we're going to cut that to 3.5 inch from the hole punches. And then it's going to create a little small flip page right there. And then we're going to grab the truck. And it looks like on this one, we're definitely using up a lot of these ephemeras. Like, I doubt we'll have any of the pieces left by the time we're done, because we still have 10 pages to go, I think, by the time we get to the end of this one. So, um, you can see you really do use up everything. Okay, and then we're gonna put just a few dots. I think we used the mint again. And I just did the 2 little enamel dots. All right. And then on page 20, we're going to flip it and grab one of the layered bits. And these layer bits, they're really quite ingenious, because when you look at them, there's a lot of different layers to it, but these are so thin, they don't take up a whole lot of space, and they're not very heavy or awkward. But this one being so long, you do have to punch a circle on it. So I'm just like tracing the circle from behind, and I'm gonna grab my hole punch from We Are Memory Keeper, and I was able to match it exactly in size. And now we're just going to glue this down and line it up, so that way the hole is all matching. Okay. And then on this one, we're going to use the mint enamel dots again, and we're going to put 3. And I always put a little bit of glue. A little dot isn't going to kill anything. It's going to just help it stay nice and strong. And then that piece is done. So now we're going to grab the 2 3x4 and then the 4x6 on the bottom protective sheet. I'm going to move this out the way so we can go ahead and start creating this. And it's going to start with the 3x4 photo. And I'm using this as a mat. If you've been watching this series, everywhere where I want to possibly put a picture, I've been using this white matte paper, like the white paper as my mats. So this one I'm putting in right now is actually a little bit more on the cream side, and that's what color they used for this collection, but I didn't have that same cream color for my photo mats, so I'm just using white, and I'm okay with it. It doesn't like make me cringe or anything. But you can, if you wanted to, go and get you ivory paper, so that way it's more on that yellowy white, that little bit that creamy white. And then on the bottom, we're going to use, I believe it's evergreen. Yes, the evergreen cardstock is our 4x6. And part of this bottom piece, we see the ornaments. So I'm going to fussy cut the 3. I'm going to go right up the middle and then get that pink one that's here on the side. And what I didn't do is they have it to where they have a border around their elements, but I cut mine straight up to the edge. And I did that really because it's just not in my wheelhouse to have a nice even border. It's bad enough that I'm having to fussy cut this ornament, period, you know? So I wasn't worrying about a border. And what I wind up doing before I put it down on the paper itself, I do go around the edges with my blender tool. It still has some ink on it. So I just went around to kind of distress the edges. That way it doesn't look like, a 2-year-old cut it. Oh my God. Fussy cutting feels like that sometimes. I'm like, who just cut this? Was it me? I don't think so. All right. So now that's what I'm doing there is inking the edges. And then we'll wind up pulling the green paper out and we'll grab the black and white twine and we'll start attaching all of these. Okay. I do have a little piece of twine that's in my packaging. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And then we'll cut like 2 more pieces. And with these, what I decided to do is instead of trying to hole punch and getting the right size hole punch and all that, I'm just going to glue the string kind of on top. And then when we put it down on the paper, I'll put a little line of glue going up and make sure that that string is in the glue so that way it doesn't get loose. All right, so we got the one on the round, and now we're going to do the other element, or not element, the other ornament. And then right there, that's the third one. I'm going to go ahead and start putting these on. And this one I try to do in the middle, and then we're going to do our little line and lay down the twine. And then we'll do the round ornament. And this one seemed like it was a lot closer up to the top. So I decided to do that one. And this one's going to be a smaller little line. And then we'll do the same thing with the very last one. But this one, we're going to go down a little bit more. All right. And then here we go. A little bit of glue and then lay it down and kind of let it dry. Okay. So now that that's done, we're going to put this back into the um, sleeve once it's dried a little bit. I didn't want to put it in too soon. I wanted, because it doesn't take long for the art glitter glue to really dry up. So I just wanted to make sure it was dry before I put it in. And then on this one, we're going to put on the back side, which we're on page 22. This one is Tinsel Rain. So that's going to go on the left-hand side. And then we have our photo mat, which is fine because that just means we can put a photo on each of the sides. Oh, right now we're putting, I think the 3 enamel dots too. And then we'll put that piece back in. And then we're going to do the 4x6 piece. All right. So now we're going to grab our black and white gingham. And it's one of the pieces that's cut at 4x6. And then we're not going to put a photo mat. We're just going to grab this Christmas tree which says shiny and bright, it looks like. And we're going to attach that to the upper right hand side. And like I said, when you look at these, you'll see it's these elements look very much layered. And I think it gives you a nice look without all the bulkiness. And then there you have it. So that's 21 and 22. Now we're going to grab the red and white polka dot. And we're going to cut a 4x6 photo mat. And I'm going to grab an element. There it is. The circle. And at first it took me a while to see what it was. They're two birds, like perched on a branch. So we're going to put the rest back in. And then we're going to grab our, I forget which one this one is, the pine solid stock. So that way I'm cutting an inch, 1 inch by 2 for our little banners that's going to go on the bottom right hand side of our 4x6 photo mat. Okay. And I'm just looking through real quick, just trying to find it. And I realized I hadn't trimmed it down. I had it cut, but I didn't have my two 1 inch pieces. So I just trimmed that up, and I'm not worried about making a mistake because I do have more of the papers for this one because of my very first mistake I made. So if I need that piece for something else, and obviously I just cut it up, I'll just grab the extra piece and be able to cut out what I need. Okay, so at the bottom, we're just going to create two little flags. And looking at it in the camera, doing this voiceover, it actually didn't look too bad. For some reason, I felt like it was too long, and I wanted to trim them up some. And then I just play real quick with placement, like how far down I want them. And then we'll also get, what is that I'm trying to say? Once we get the flags and stuff up under there, then we can, this one is pretty much done because it's not a whole lot. It's literally just a 4x6 mat and those two banners underneath. And so I put the little bit of wet glue. I didn't put anything under the flag pieces, but I definitely wanted to make sure I had enough time to kind of make sure this was in the right spot and then put the other two underneath. So that way I can see where to put this little circle. So that way it makes sense. Excuse me. And then once I have it in the right spot, I'm just going to put some wet glue down and press everything flat. And then I'm going to put a little bit of foam beneath the circle, but only half of the circle. So that way, if I do use a photo, it doesn't interfere with that circle piece. I'm just going to put a couple of foam pieces. I have this one piece that I can cut around the edge and get, you really use everything. So not only the individual cut pieces, but the border too, because it's all double-sided foam. All right. And then that's that page done. So that's 23. We're going to go to 24, which is going to be on the back side. And for the most part, a lot of these come together pretty quickly. I know these particular videos are running longer than my normal videos, but I just like how each page just comes together really, really easily. And I'm enjoying it. I hope this is something that they do again next year. I really do. Okay, so I was measuring, making sure that my mats were correct with my 4x3 solid matte paper for the photo. So we have the list over on the left, and then we'll have a photo over on the side. And we just got to grab one more element from, yeah, the bits and pieces. That's going to go up the top there. And then I believe that is it. So now we're just going to start putting everything down. I'm going to put the list side down first. And with the list, you can do so many things. You can do like your top 5 favorite, Christmas movies, or top 5 favorite Christmas desserts, or your top 5, favorite people, however you want to do it, whatever your list is. And then if you can, I would put a picture on the side. So like you could do up a picture of, your favorite movie, and then have a list of your top 5. So like for me, White Christmas is one of my favorites, and I'd have to watch it every year. So I would put a picture of White Christmas on that other side, and then write down 4 other Christmas movies that are, for me, a must in some way. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to be on the day of Christmas, but as long as I've watched it, during the course of the season, I'm happy. Like Scrooge, there's always so many different Scrooge movies, but I do like a good Scrooge movie. And then I know a lot of people like Elf, National Christmas Vacation. That's one of my favorites with the Griswolds. So, you can do all kinds of fun lists. All right. So on the back side, which is going to be um page 20 6, because 25 is just the black and white gingham with the "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" on it. That's from the 6x8 paper pad. So there's nothing to do on that side, but on the other side is what we're going to be working on now. And this is one of those moments where for some reason it decided to freeze, but after this, I don't think it happens again. Okay, so what I was trying to show you is when I cut out my L shape, I did it backwards. So mine is going to be on the right hand side instead of the left hand side. And it's not a problem, because it's really, the photo is the main image anyway. And I'm just putting some foam on half of the 25 cent. I think it's 20. Is it 25 cent or just a 25? I think it's just a 25. Yeah, it's just a 25. So this could be like we take a picture of opening presents on Christmas Day. That picture could go in here because that has the 25 right there. But I'm just showing you how the photo will slide right underneath. And then that just slides into the page protector. All right. Now, on this next one, we're going to use the final chipboard piece. Okay, so that's going to be 27 and 28. I'm just going to grab my piece that was left from the pattern paper that we cut with the lines. We're going to grab that, the ephemera layered bits, 2 of the gingham hearts, red hearts, and then we're going to cut a 2x3 photo paper, photo mat. So we're going to cut that real quick. And what's funny is, for me, I'm a big visual person. Like, they could just show us up close photos of each of the pages, and I could probably figure it out and have it look like it, you know what I mean? But I read some of the instructions, and I go a lot by what I see in the photo. And then I go back and I recheck just to make sure I didn't miss anything. That's generally how I do it. So now we're going to put our um, it's green, like gingham. Not gingham, that's not what they call it. Herringbone, that's it. Down first. And then I think I wind up trimming this by like an eighth of an inch. And I did that because for some reason it was hanging over a little bit. Like the page was just a little bit longer than the chipboard. So I just trimmed it down so that way it would be nice and flush. All right. And they tell you to put it like a half an inch away from the edge of the herringbone paper. So if you're someone who definitely needs all the measurements and exactly where you need to put something, you'll definitely want to, read and follow the instructions, and you could even measure. For me, I don't measure. I'm like, this looks like a half an inch. And that doesn't bother me, because this feels more freeing than that. I don't know. I just don't feel like I have to be that controlling, trying to make sure everything is the exact measurement. And then this piece, I'm going to glue it straight down. And then we're going to pop up the hearts with foam. And you can see there me cutting up around the line of the foam. I'm just trimming down little bits, little pieces, so I can get the height on both that and the baby heart. All right, and then we're going to put that one up here, and then the smaller one we're going to put down kind of like in between the ephemera bit and the 2x3 uh, matte paper for the photo. And then once we get those attached, I want to say it's like 2 enamel dots on each one of the hearts. So we're going to put some red enamel dots right on the hearts. And I'm sitting, well, what I'm doing right here is trying to figure out, because it looked like it might have been 3 gems, but I decided to just do 2. I did one big one and a small going to the right on the top one, and then going towards the left on the one closer to the photo mat. All right, I really like how that's coming together. And then that page is done. So we'll flip it over, and that'll take us to page 28. And 28 is fun. It's another one of the layered bits. I have a feeling we're going to be using those a lot on the next few pages. But we are going to punch a hole so that way we can put twine through it. And then we're going to grab the star from the little bits. And then we'll get a 4x3 photo mat. The matte paper for that is going to be 4.5 by 3.5. And then we have our uh, photo mat, and I always put an extra one over to the side. If I'm cutting one, like I'm cutting 4 inches, and I have enough to do the 3 inches, so that way I get more than one of the 4x3s. I just put the second one over to the side, so that way I can just grab it and use it. Or you could always just grab another piece of paper. It's fine. Either way, whichever way works for you. Now, this is one that I cut wrong originally. So I'm grabbing my extra sheet because I knew at some point I was going to have to redo it because of my first mistake when I was cutting. So I'm just cutting this red and white gingham to 6x8, because the other one I wind up cutting wrong. I cut it at like 6x6. So I have 2 square pieces instead of the 6x8. I couldn't believe I did that on the first cut. I'm like, seriously? Anywho, our tape with the glue, we're going to go ahead and put that red gingham down. And now we can start building up our gingham. Okay. So I'm just looking to see where exactly the photo mat is going. And then I'm looking here to try and find where I put the bits. There they are. And then I'm going to grab that little star. So that's going to go like that. And then the other element that we have will go over on the side. And we're going to be using foam to have it pop up. So that way we can slide in our photo whenever we're ready. So this time I haven't added any photos because most of the photo mats aren't obstructed in any way. So I can always go back in and add my photos depending on, what I want to put where. So right now I'm going to put some glue on the star and put that down here. And then I think I'm going to grab some, oh, that's what I have to do. Enamel dot in the center of the star. They wanted me to put one of the black ones. And then we're going to grab the layer bit and put some of this twine. I'm doubling it up and putting the two through the loop to create the attachment. And then I'm going to flip it over and start adding the foam. And like I said, this is a foam that I use up all the bits. So I tore the piece off and then I'm putting two small pieces where it kind of sticks out, and then we're just going to keep adding layers. Since that was the last bit of the foam, I'm grabbing out the last piece I have, I think, of this one, and I'm going to grab the outside edge to continue with using that same foam type on this background. And then I think that should be it. Nope, I cut one more piece. That's right. One more piece. Because we don't need that much without foam. So I'm just going to put a few more pieces down. All right. And then we can see really it's going to be right here on the edge. Just like that. So we're going to go ahead and take the backing off. I'm going to use a little bit of glue, dot, 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 on the foam to give us a little bit of time. And then we'll get it put down. And then once it's down, then I'll go about trimming that pattern paper. Not pattern paper. I said pattern paper. Trimming the twine so that way it's not super long. It'll just be a nice little short. Yeah, that's all we need. And then the last little bit, I'm putting a little bit of glue down so that way that stays. We're gonna add 3 enamel dots. I'm gonna grab the big black enamel dot, and then it was in the wrong spot, so I'm grabbing the little picker tool so I can try and slide it back out before it dries and is permanent. I just wanted a little bit more of that, peek it out. All right, and then we're gonna add, so I basically did the large, medium, and small since it comes in the 3 sizes, and then that page is done. So page 29 and 30 is going to be using the 3x4s, the 2 3x4s, and the 4x6 at the bottom. And then we'll be done for this video. And like I said, I think we should be able to do the last 10 on part 6, which would be coming up this week coming. So we're just going to get everything kind of put in. Santa is going to go over on this side, and he's just going to slide right on in. And then on the plaid background, we're going to put a photo mat, which is again, excuse me, 3.5 by 4.5 of the winter mint color. And then we're going to put a 4x3 photo mat on top of that. And then this side will be done. And I like how when they do these books, they have some that are simple and, it doesn't feel like it's doing a whole lot, yet you're always impacting, as you're putting stuff in it. So your photos, if you're going to do journaling, if you're going to um, add stuff, like I know people have put like their coffee cup in, or they get a clean coffee cup, excuse me, and then put that in um, for getting their coffee for the season or whatever. Like there's so much you can do, because these are all the base pages, you know what I mean? If there's elements or things you want to also stick in, I believe you'll have room to do that, and it doesn't take long. It really doesn't. Okay, so on this side, excuse me, I gotta find a cut apart that's gonna go on the right hand side. There it is. And then I was looking, I was like, there's a black border on this other one. I have one that says joy, and I was thinking maybe it's that and I'm missing it. But I just start looking because I just want to double check, kind of make sure, and then I just read the double check. Oh no, it is that one I saw. It's the one that's all black with the word joy on it. And then I just go right back to it and pull that one out as well. So I know some of you have gone back to watch these particular videos for this series. I hope you guys are enjoying it. This has been fun. Like I said, I've been really enjoying putting this album together. And for the first time, it feels like I'm doing um, my own December daily. I know I'm going by a book and I'm following the directions, but it just feels like I'm doing it. I like that. Okay, so on that piece, put it on the photo mat, slide that in, you're done. This one, I think I didn't cut it right at 3x4, so I do wind up trimming it a little bit so that that piece will fit in. I just cut on the other side, so that way we don't lose that little like tab opening. Sorry, I'm off camera trying to trim it real quick. And then you can see that all black joy, this layered ephemera bit, that's going to cover that joy. And instead of doing it more on the angle, I'm going to move it so that it's sitting right in the center. All right. And then we're going to just trim a little bit off of that joy. And we're going to attach that layered element. And then it didn't, when I was reading this, it didn't look like it said anything about the enamel dots. But there were a few enamel dots right at the bottom middle. So I'm putting 3 right there. 3 of the red ones. Again, small, medium, and large. And then we'll slide that in and that page is done. So as I put this last one back into the book, thank you guys so much for joining me. If you've stuck it out this far, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And then I'm going to circle. This is where we're going to start on the next video, which is page 31. And then if you see here, it says page 40 and then back cover. So it's like 41 technically. So we have 10 more pages to do. And the book is already thick. So I'm loving it. So thanks again, you guys. I hope you have a great Sunday. And as we get closer and closer to Christmas, I'm so excited. But I will have another video hopefully this week. Thanks again and have a great day.